The Chicago Bears 21. The Dallas Cowboys nothing.
Teams around the National Football League. 7 touchdowns are scored by the various special teams, the 3 most important by the Kansas City Chiefs as they hustle into the playoffs for the first time since Hank Stram was their coach back in 1971. And a punt return specialist moved the Tampa Bay Buccaneers a gigantic step closer to signing Vinny Testaverde out of Miami. By Sikahema of the St. Louis Cardinals tied the NFL record by hauling back 2 punts for Cardinal scores, and the Bucs were beaten. There was also a freak moment for the Cleveland Browns. Watch Reggie Camp. He is hit in the face by the handkerchief thrown by the referee. The weighted end struck him in the face. Fortunately, it was not a serious injury. But Irv, drat that referee, but what aim he had with that. He should be a dart thrower.
Yeah, I wonder if he plays darts, you know.
Yeah, tell us about that flag and the weight they've got on the one end.
Well, you know, you have a lead weight at the end of it to be able to throw the flag so he can mark the spot. They use that as a marker oftentimes, and unfortunately, he hit the Camp in the face with it.
Yeah, fortunately for him, though, it struck him underneath the eye. Irv, to the scoreboard. Important things first. The playoff situation in the AFC. 24-19. The Chiefs with a huge win. John Makovic probably saved his job as coach. Irv, show us those other 2 special team scores.
It's really incredible. Harry Newsom has his punt blocked here, and Darren Cherry drops on it for special team score number 1 for Kansas City today. You know, Chuck Noll has to wonder what's going on, but you know, 30% of your players on special teams play, and Kansas City was outstanding in that area today. Gary Anderson has an attempted field goal block. Lloyd Burris scoops it up and rambles 78 yards the other way for another Kansas City special teams touchdown.
And as a result of their special team play, the Chiefs go to the playoffs. Meanwhile, the Cincinnati Bengals move closer to the playoffs, but they will need help from the Miami Dolphins. And they exploded against the New York Jets, who move a step closer to the Super Bowl by losing for the 5th straight time, but they had a special team touchdown too, Irv.
For an exciting play early in the ball game, Bobby Humphrey takes the ball on the 4-yard line and rambles 96 yards for a score, and it looked as though the Jets were going to take command of this football game, Brent.
Joe Walton looked relieved, but it didn't last very long. Boomer Esiason on this day would complete 23 of 30 for 425 yards and 5 touchdowns. This one off the scramble. Rodney Holman is all alone, and he goes the rest of the way for the 34-yard score, and Sam Weich's offense is in high gear. Esiason comes back, and this time he'll hit Chris Collinswood. And Cincinnati puts 52 points on the board, but they have not yet qualified for the playoffs. Here's the situation. 1 game remaining in the AFC tomorrow night. New England will play Miami down in the Orange Bowl. If New England wins the game, then the Patriots capture the AFC East. The Jets have the home field for the wild card. They will host Kansas City. But if Miami wins, the Jets win the AFC East. The Patriots are out of it completely, and the Bengals will go out and play the Chiefs in Kansas City in the wild card. NFC, the Washington Redskins hustle back in the second half, and they beat the Philadelphia Eagles 21-14. Irv, how'd that one develop?
Boy, I tell you, they came back in great fashion, Brent. They lost the first half 14-0 on plays like this. Dre Schrader throwing a ball picked off over the middle by Gary Kopp. But in the second half, the Redskins came back and won 21-0, winning the ball game. Gary Clark's out, their top receiver, with an injury. So watch Schrader go to work here in the second half of the ball game, going upfield looking for Clinton Didier, and he threads the needle, a 26-yard touchdown strike to the big guy there. And Schrader comes back again, this time hitting Don Warren on the rollout, a 2-yard touchdown strike. And late in the ball game, when they needed to put it away, they went to George Rogers, who rambled in from 5 yards out, and the Redskins came back with 21 second-half points to win the ball game.
All right, Irvin, the NFC wildcard game is all set next Sunday. They'll play it down in RFK at Washington. It'll be the Los Angeles Rams coming in to play the Washington Redskins. And we'll have more on the NFL today right after these messages from your local ball league. Continues to be the Cleveland Browns. They have wrapped up the home field for as long as they last in the playoffs. They are out San Diego. Now watch this sequence. Kosar throws the pass to Brennan, and the defensive back is very lax, thinks he's down. He scrambles in. Kosar says, I got 6 seconds left. Let me have a timeout. He doesn't need it. They have already scored the touchdown, and they rout San Diego 47-17. St. Louis and Tampa Bay, we told you that story. The Buccaneers qualify for the first pick in the NFL draft. Houston over Buffalo this afternoon, 16-7 was the final in that one. Atlanta over Detroit in 26. Dan Henning may have saved his job with that win this afternoon. And Minnesota gets a remarkable performance from a backup quarterback in this game. Tommy Kramer was out. Wade Wilson goes 24 of 39 for 361 yards and 3 touchdowns, 2 of them to tight end Steve Jordan. And the Vikings stamped themselves as a team to watch next year in the NFC Central. And the Chicago Bears, first the Raiders score. Raiders over the Colts, 17-6. They are at the half of that game. And the one we are watching here, the Chicago Bears running it up on the Dallas Cowboys, 21-0. Of course, I'll tell you, Doug Flutie, there's nothing wrong with his arm. Maybe his height, but not his arm.
Yeah, you look at him, Sonny Jurgensen and Fran Tarkenton and Greasy were all relatively short quarterbacks. They would stand in the pocket and throw through the seams. Flutie is effective when he rolls out of the pocket, gets to the outside where he's open. So the key to stopping him is to keep him in the cup, right, so he can't see.
Now, how about the Dallas defense, though? Pretty unimpressive so far.
Well, they've been up and down all year, but I think the thing they have to do today is continue to contain Flutie, to keep him in the pocket, and make him throw from the well, so we say, Rather well.
Let me remind everybody, coming up on Christmas afternoon here on CBS, Thursday afternoon, Michael Jordan, the scoring leader in the NBA, comes into Madison Square Garden to take on the New York Knicks. For the Knicks a year ago, they played the Boston Celtics. That was their best performance of the year, and the way they're going, they need a remarkable turnaround of this. We'll start at noon Eastern. After that, we'll go down for the John Hancock Sun Bowl down in El Paso, Texas. This is really one of the better matchups. The key game in all of college football remains, of course, Penn State against Miami. But if you're looking for good bowl matchups, this is one of them. Washington against Alabama. Now let's send you back to Dallas. Here's Pat Summerall and John Madden. Pat?
All right, Brent, it's last night with both coaches, yesterday afternoon with Tom Landry, about the quarterback situation. Reggie Collier started for the Cowboys, Doug Flutie for the Bears. And I guess you'd have to give Flutie an A for his performance, wouldn't you?
Well, and of course they're getting ready to go into playoffs, and Mike Ditka was saying last night that if I had to go right now, Mike Tomczak would be the starter. But I'll bet you right now at halftime, he's changed his mind. I would think, as I watch this Bear team, and we watch Doug Flutie in the first half, I kind of think that he's going to be the starter in the playoffs because he's proven that he can make big plays for him. We saw him in his first half. Here's the first one. It wasn't a touchdown, but it was a big pass to his tight end, Tim Reitman. And that got the ball down to the 1-yard line, and then Walter Payton took it in. But that was off of a scramble. He had to move out, and boom, he hit it. Then the next one was a big touchdown to Neil Anderson. Here he starts out in motion. He's the guy in the slot now running right by Bill Bates. And this is a heck of a throw by Doug Flutie. I mean, he gets it right out there. Anderson doesn't even have to break stride.
When you look at those two plays, and this one, too, coming up to Willie Galt, the one to Anderson was straight drop back, so he can do that. The other two were on the move.
But see, right here, he not only bought a little time, but he gets out here in that open where he has great vision. He can see the whole field, and then, of course, he ended up with Willie Galt down there in the end zone.
You bring up an interesting thought. If you did start the playoffs, and they'll start in 2 weeks, the Bears will, would you go with Doug Flutie? He doesn't have the experience, but he certainly does put some points on the board.
I think I would go with Doug Flutie, and we may get part of this answer now because Mike Ditka said he was going to split the game between Flutie and Tomczak. And it'll be interesting to see if Tomczak gets in the second half and when he gets in the second half.
Right now, they lead 21-0. CBS Sports coverage of NFL football will continue after this message and a word from your local station.